Do you want to join today? Look at him just sitting so politely back there. Oh no, literally I just sat down to film and garbage people have arrived. Okay, we're gonna pause this. We'll loop back when they're gone. That only took like 20 minutes. Anyways, we're back. So revenge romances today. That's what we're going to be talking about. I recently read a revenge novella and then I was like, wait, have I ever done like a dedicated revenge romance video? And I don't think I have. You can correct me if I'm wrong. You guys probably know better than I do at this point. But that's what we're going to talk about. I think I have 8 revenge romance recommendations, and especially a lot of them are women's wrongs. And you know what, as much as I support women's rights on this channel, I also support women's wrongs. So I fully stand behind all of these women, which first of all, we gotta kick the video off with this one. This one is like, I feel like the poster child of revenge romance. Lana Myers getting her revenge that she deserves, and that is the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey. This is the special edition. This is the Mystic Box special edition. It does have the dust jacket, so like the foiling might be kind of hard to see, but I don't really like the dust jacket as much when the foiling is just so beautiful. So this is how I have this on my shelves. And this is, so it might look big, but it's actually 5 novellas that all make up this big chunker. So it feels really fast when you're reading it, because also each of the novellas ends on a cliffhanger. I remember when I read this a couple of years ago and I literally read one after another, like I just binged it. I couldn't stop. So this one is a serial killer and FBI profiler romance. So Lana Myers is our serial killer, but you know what? She's also a queen. And listen, there was something that happened in Lana's past, which definitely with all of these, check your trigger warnings, because I feel like actually most of these books are dark and like have dark reasons behind these people seeking out revenge. And Lana's is no different, but I will not spoil anything. But let's just say she's fully justified. And there is currently a serial killer on the loose that is killing these men. And this profiler ends up getting called in to start hunting the case. But little does he know, I think his name is Logan, right? Is that right? Lana Logan? But little does he know that the serial killer that he is hunting is also his new girlfriend that he literally just happened to meet. Like they literally had a bit of a meet cute, and like Lana did not seek him out, and it wasn't until after that she started like talking to him that she realized that he was the profiler assigned to her case, and it ends up being their romance. But it's more so, I will say, like obviously yes, the romance is a part of this book, but I will truly say that I think a huge part of this story is just Lana's journey, her revenge, and then Logan kind of coming to terms with who his girlfriend is. And it's so good. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. I felt like every single emotion right alongside Lana. It's truly such an amazing series. Like this is a favorite read of mine. And yeah, please pick it up. So bingeable, so good, and truly like some of the sweetest revenge. Okay, next up we got probably the newest one I think that I have on this list, Serpentine Valentine by Gianna Darling. This one is a dark academia sapphic romance, and so this one follows Luna and Lex. And Lex is our one that is getting revenge here. So she is really, really dedicated to her studies. She's on scholarship and she takes school very seriously. Like all she ever wanted to do was go to this university, get her education, and she doesn't have like a lot of the wealth that all these other kids have that are at this school. So when she arrives at this university, she's like, I'm here to get my education, whatever, and takes it very seriously. And this one professor, she ends up like really having this like intellectual connection with him, but she's like, listen, I don't swing your way. I'm not into men, like back off. And this professor, you know, like he seems to kind of like take that, but then one night he does not. He ends up drugging her, and obviously trigger warnings in this one once again. And basically once she comes back from the attack and confronts him, no one believes her. Not the chancellor, not the professors, the students all turn against her. Literally everyone turns against her and says that she's lying. And there is kind of, she learns a history on campus of men getting away with things and hurting and harassing other students, and she is just not gonna like let that slide. She ends up coming back and getting her revenge. And so not only is she getting revenge on the people around her, the professor, the other men, the other students that have gotten away with things, but also on the chancellor's daughter, because she's like, what better way than to rip down this chancellor, this woman that she once admired, and then completely turned her back on Lex when she needed her in that moment, and just like completely tossed her aside, called her a liar, like turned her into a villain basically in everyone else's eyes when she was actually the victim. And she's like, you know what, how else can I get back at you? I'm gonna get with your daughter. And it ends up being their romance. So good. Really loved this one. You got to check it out. And again, just so satisfying seeing Lex's revenge come to fruition. Next up, let's go with the novella that kind of like got me thinking about this. Dead Devil's Night by Mari Rose. So this one, I had recently posted on my Instagram story asking for novella recommendations because I have been in the worst reading slump of my life and I just needed to finish something short, quick, and to the point. And Madison from, I'll tag her YouTube video or her YouTube channel down below. I only know like her Instagram handle offhand, but she had like put this one in the suggestion box for me, and I had just finished reading another book by Mari Rose, so I was like, let me pick this one up. And it is an MFM novella. I think it's like less than 100 pages. It's super fast to read, but this one, once again, something happens. So there's this thing called Dead Devil's Night that happens in this world, which is basically like the purge. Okay, like everything is kind of like on the table to have happen, and like no emergency services are coming around. If you hear people screaming, you're kind of like, I'm just gonna kind of turn a blind eye to that, like mind my own business, that kind of thing. And basically on one Dead Devil's Night, her and her two best friends who she was living with, these twin guys, they were all besties. They all had this great relationship. They weren't like together, but they were all like, they loved each other. They were a little found family, the three of them. And basically these, I think 4 or 5 guys ended up breaking into their apartment that night and terrorizing them all night. And at the end of it, the 2 guys she thinks are dead after this brutal attack. And the guys all thought that she was also dead as well. The guys that like broke in, they thought that they had wiped everyone out. However, not. She survived. And now that it is the next year on Dead Devil's Night, she has spent an entire year plotting her revenge, not only for what they did to her, but also for what they did to her 2 best friends. Because now she thinks that they are dead. She thinks that they're gone. She thinks that she's lost everyone important in her life. And she's like, you know what? If I die getting my revenge, then I die getting my revenge. But like, I gotta try. So it is basically her tracking down each and every one of these men, which once again, so satisfying. All go rot and die. And wouldn't you know, the 2 guys, this isn't a spoiler because obviously it's an MFF, it's like, you know that it's a romance, like they gotta be there. Obviously the guys also didn't die, but neither of them knew that they were alive, and they end up running into each other, all getting their revenge. So good. Once again, like the perfect, like it was quick, it was to the point, it was hot, it was fun. I love seeing the revenge. Yeah. A really fun novella. Okay, next up, so this is technically the 6th book in a series. So while I think you could read this one as a standalone. I personally, you guys know how I am. I love reading series in order, even if they are interconnected and you don't have to read them in order. But I know a lot of you guys, you can always do whatever you want. You can read whatever you want, pick up a book in whatever order you want. So I want to include it. And that is Twisted Cravings by Cora Riley. So this is a mafia book following Adamo and Dinara. So Dinara is the daughter of like a Russian mafia dude, and Adamo is the brother of the capo of the Las Vegas mafia. So like rivals, like don't get along. Just know that like these 2 families, like they don't really vibe with each other. And Adamo, so if you read the rest of the books, you see him, he just like really has no interest in the mafia lifestyle, but he loves racing, as you can tell. So he kind of runs like the mafia's like street racing kind of circuit. So even though, yeah, it is mafia, I'd say it's definitely like light mafia, more so like racing and stuff. Dinara, she ends up coming out to Las Vegas and she joins these races, and everyone is kind of like, I feel like she probably has ulterior motives. Like, why else would she be voluntarily entering our territory except to just like race? So Adamo is kind of like keeping an eye on her. But as they start to get to know each other, and as of course they start to fall in love, they realize why Dinara is truly out there, and she has some things in her past regarding her mother and kind of the history of her childhood that she starts kind of like unlocking these memories, and then she starts to set out to get revenge on not only her mother but then on all of these men that her mother basically brought into her life and completely stole Dinara's childhood basically. And Adamo is right there beside her helping her get her revenge. Oh, absolutely love seeing Dinara get her revenge. Get all of these men the fuck out of here. Like, love it. Next up, you want a hot demon. Let's go with Her Soul for Revenge by Harley LaRue. So this is the 2nd book in the Souls trilogy. So this one follows Juniper and what's his Zane. And so Juniper, basically in this town, what you should know is that there they're still around, this cult presence. And so this town is like a little spooky, little bit like witchy, creepy vibes. And that's because there's literally this cult there that has done sacrifices. And it's like, of course, all of these like important people in town, all of these wealthy people that are the ones doing these sacrifices. And Juniper one year was attempted to be sacrificed alongside, was it her brother too? yeah, her brother was also sacrificed alongside of her. And because she was like befriended by the daughter of one of these important cult leaders and kind of like lured out into the woods basically by her until she was sacrificed. But she did end up getting away, and now as an adult she is ready to come back and get her revenge. And that is when she ends up running into Zane, who is a demon, and he not only is like fascinated by her right off the bat because he's like, you really are going to try to take down all of these people by yourself, like you're literally a human, how are you gonna do that? And he's like, you know what, I'll make a little bit of a bargain with you, I'll help you out, you know, whatever. And they end up also falling in love, and Zane's just like a super hot demon and helping her out. Once again, very satisfying to see all of these shitty people get the revenge that they have coming for them. And yeah, I really liked Juniper a lot too, just like a total badass. And yeah, I mean, what else is to be said at this point? Like, all of these people getting their revenge, like it's what they deserve. What do I have left? I have 1, 2, 3 left, but I'm gonna save one of them for last because I literally talk about it all the friggin' time, so we'll save that one. Next up, let's talk about Carnage by Chantal Tessier. So this is technically the 5th book in the Lord series, but you could read these in whatever order you want to. Like, I've read them out of order. Actually, I read Carnage before I read books 2 and 3 in this series, so I mean, you can kind of jump them around. But basically, the entire premise of the Lord series is that it's this secret society where all of the men that are born into it eventually get initiated to become lords, and for the 3 years that they're going through their initiation, you have to be celibate. And then in your 4th year, after you've like proved yourself to the lords, you know, like you don't ask questions, you just like do whatever they tell you, and then once you are past that, then you end up getting a lady. Carnage is a little bit different in this one because Carnage is this place that the lords who like death is too good for them, but you've betrayed the lords, you've like betrayed your brothers, you haven't done the orders that you're supposed to, you're getting sent here. And it's like literal hell on earth. And our hero in this one, he is the son of one of the like owner or like keepers of Carnage, so it's going to be him and his 2 best friends that basically will take over this prison hell on earth. And so that's really fun. That's like a fun little dynamic in this one. Revenge portion of this one comes in the second half of the book. It's told in 2 kind of like different parts, like part 1 and part 2. So the beginning part, he has always kind of had his eye on, is it his best friend's little sister? Is she? Yeah, she's the heroine, her brother is friends with the hero in this one, and he's kind of always wanted her, she's always wanted him, whatever. She ends up becoming his lady, that kind of whole deal, whatever. But then there is something that happens about halfway through this book, and I obviously will not spoil what that is because I didn't really know that this is what like that was going to come and that was going to be a twist. But let's just say it is not a revenge in the typical way that a lot of these books have been that I've been talking about, where it's like the women setting out on getting revenge on these people and then like the hero's kind of helping them out. This is the hero has some revenge to get on the heroine for what ends up happening, and I will not say anything more. Oh, I loved it. It's my favorite book in the Lord series by far. Really enjoyed it, but definitely dark. Check your triggers if you've never read a Chantal Tessier book. Oh, you're in for a ride. Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. So, and like I said, switch it up a little bit from the different kind of like pattern that some of these that I've been talking about are. Okay, last 2. So again, this one is not like super traditional in terms of revenge, but it does come into play, of like some of the other ones, but it does come into play, and I want to talk about it because it does have some of the sweetest revenge in my opinion. And that is Manacled by Senlin Yu. Yes, this is a fan fiction. It is a Dramini fan fiction. It's actually being published into like a regular book. I think, is it next year or is it this fall? I don't know. Whenever that comes out, I will be reading it and buying it because truly this is one of the most masterful things I've ever read in my entire life. So this is Harry Potter meets Handmaid's Tale. I don't feel like you need to know background knowledge about Harry Potter because I never read the books, but I love this and I was like able to follow along with it. But basically Voldemort has won in this world, like Voldemort has won the war and like the entire order has basically been like knocked out, and Hermione was one of the last members of the order that is a prisoner, that she has been kept like in Voldemort's, you know, camps and whatever. As the war comes to an end now, they're like, she holds these remaining secrets that we need to have to just like get the final few members of the order that are out there, but her brain is so scrambled and like so locked up after being kept in this dark cell for months and months and months that they're like, that's a problem, we're gonna give you over to Draco, who is the High Reeve for Voldemort, and he's basically gonna going to work on unlocking your memories. And it's also kind of like Handmaid's Tale-esque. Let me just tell you, trust the process with this book. It's told in current time and then flashbacks and then back to current time. And I can't really get into what the revenge is that comes in to play because I don't want to spoil anything. Yes, it's huge, but when I say it really, really is one of the best things I've ever read in my entire life. And seeing the revenge that gets enacted, which I won't even say like which characters are getting it, I will just say it is so satisfying. It's so good. I tell everyone to read this. Like, I know, even if you're not a fan fiction person, even if you're not a Harry Potter person, I couldn't care less about Harry Potter. But Draco and Hermione do it, okay? They just like do it. And Senlin Yu put everything into this book. Like, it's truly masterful. I cannot wait to read like the traditionally published version because I just want to be able to support her because truly this is just masterful. And last but not least, a book that I've talked about I don't even know how many times on my channel, but I can't do a revenge video without talking about it, and that is Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. The entire Devil's Night series basically has some form of like revenge in all of the books, but this one is what really kicks it off and what is the strongest. It's also the first book, and you do have to read them in order. This one follows Michael and Rika, and basically every single year there's this thing called Devil's Night where the 4 horsemen, Michael and his 3 besties, they all put on their masks and they basically like wreak havoc around town. You know, like they're just rich boys getting to kind of like do whatever, and like everyone just kind of lets them get away with it because like it's not like that bad. It's just like a little bit of property damage, a little bit of chaos here and there, you know, whatever, they kind of get away with it. However, that is until one Devil's Night when then 3 of them end up getting sent to prison. Michael is the only one who is not sent to prison. And now in current day, the 3 of them are back out and all 4 of the guys want revenge on who they think is responsible for sending them to prison, and that is Rika. So Rika actually originally dated Michael's younger brother, but you know, it was more so just like they grew up together, they were kind of like pushed together, and yeah, it's whatever. But she's never really been into him. She's always wanted Michael. She's always wanted the older brother. And they've always had this bit of like a back and forth kind of thing, but it's never been anything. And now as adults, you know, she's still kind of feeling Michael, and Michael is just, he's using her for revenge, basically. It's great. I love this series. I've talked about it a lot. I feel like a lot of people already know about it. Obviously the cover is also different now. This was the original like indie published cover, but now it's like traditionally published and everything. It's great. Absolutely love it. The revenge is good. And yeah, that's that. And again, it's not like them teaming up to go take out revenge on other people. It's like Michael taking out revenge on Rika along with his friends. So anyways, that is it for all of my revenge videos for today. I don't remember what I have going up on Friday. I will have something obviously going up on Friday, but I can't remember offhand now what that was. So anyways, that is it for today's video, and I will see you when I see ya.